Extreme poverty anywhere is a threat to human security everywhere. A quote said by Kofi Annan, the seventh Secretary General of the United Nations, who is recognizing that poverty is a serious issue around the world. Not one single place contains the idea of poverty, but it is seen affecting many countries. It may even be happening under your own feet. According to the United Nations, poverty entails more than the lack of income and productive resources to ensure sustainable livelihoods. Its manifestations include hunger, malnutrition, and limited access to education and other basic services, social discrimination and exclusion, as well as the lack of participants in decision making. So this means that poverty is not only referred to as the loss of jobs and money, but also the lack of necessities to survive and the involvement in society. According to the United States Census Bureau, in 2018, the United States contained 11.8% of people in poverty. That is 38.1 million people who are in need of help. Although that may be a big number, in the past years, the percentage of people in poverty has dropped by 3% from 14.8% since 2014. One main cause for poverty in the United States is unemployment, and jobs are made to help these people to get back on their feet and eradicate poverty in our homeland. So, there are steps being taken to overcome this issue in the United States, but that may not be the case in other countries. Poverty can be in developed countries, but is more prominent in lesser developed countries who are small, fragile, and conflict affected countries, which leads them to not have basic necessities to survive. Africa, for example, had about 54% of its population in poverty in 1990, but was lowered to 41% in 2015. According to the World Bank in 2019. The poverty population is expected to decrease in Africa to 23% by 2030. These are only a couple of examples of places that are experiencing poverty. Many countries experience it, but some not to the same extent as others. All in all, according to the United Nations, in 2015, more than 736 million people lived below the international poverty line in the whole world, which decreased down from nearly 36% or 1.9 billion people in 1990. Around 10% of the world population is living in extreme poverty and struggling to fulfill the most basic needs like health, education, and access to water and sanitation, just to name a few. Studies found there are approximately 122 women aged 25 to 34 living in poverty for every 100 men of the same age group. More than 160 million children are at risk of continuing to live in extreme poverty by 2030. The World Bank in 2020 stated, moreover, for those who have been able to move out of poverty, progress is often temporary. Economic shocks, food insecurities, and climate change threaten to rob them of their hard-earned gains and force them back into poverty. Poverty rate may be declining due to organizations and countries coming together and helping each other out, but it is still not something to be overlooked. There are still plenty of people who live a life of poverty, and some may be closer than you think. Anyone can experience poverty. They may not only be born into it, but may come across it later in life.